I spent the last 3 days alone exploring one of Scotland's great long-distance trails, a 71-kilometre hike that would take me in search of the country's most beautiful glen. Dreaming of stunning lochs, hidden bothies and remote wilderness, I set off from Drumnadrochit and quickly discovered it might not all be smooth sailing.
It looks like it's the end of that forestry trail. It's all forestry track around here. Forestry track purgatory. This is the stretch of road.
Is it really the most beautiful glen in Scotland, or would it fail to live up to the hype? I'm David, and this is the Affric Kintail Way. I spent the whole day questioning this. Is the Affric Kintail Way the most overrated long-distance hike in Scotland?
Oh, this walk has not gone to plan so far. In fact, it's taken 3 days to even get to this point. Madness. I'll grab you and let's go. I'll tell you a little bit about why it hasn't gone to plan so far in a second. But first of all, let me tell you where I am. I'm in Drumnadrochit, one of my favourite named places in Scotland. It just rolls off the tongue so nicely. Drumnadrochit.
And I came here for a very good reason, to hike the Affric Kintail Way, one of Scotland's many long-distance hiking trails. A 71-kilometre stroll that will take me through ancient woodlands, towering glens, past deep lochs and down ancient drove roads that were used to transport cattle from the west coast. They say Glen Affric is one of the most beautiful glens in Scotland.
Or at least, I'm going to find out if that's true. So, let's get to it.
The hike started off pleasantly, through some woodlands and up a small hill that was a bit steeper than I was expecting at this stage in the walk. I followed the signposts and let my imagination wander, thinking about all the kinds of scenery that would lie ahead.
It's 4:05 in the afternoon. Drumnadrochit to Cannich is around 26-ish kilometres, so I've got quite a lot of ground to make up today. It's currently 4:05 in the afternoon on Wednesday, and as I say, I was supposed to start this walk a few days ago, but essentially I got cold feet, and it was just because the weather forecast wasn't looking too great, and it sort of made me hum and hay, and then the black cloud went from being weather to just being a blocker in my mind. I spent Sunday and Monday probably till about midnight or 12:30 just searching all the same places over and over again, just looking at the weather, just hoping it would have changed. I wanted the most amazing, beautiful sunshine like the past few weeks have been. But yeah, you can plan as much as you want, but it doesn't mean it's going to work out the way you want it to.
The corridor of trees that I found myself in had ended, and I was treated briefly to some stunning views of Loch Duich and the surrounding countryside. But as I would quickly find out, those woods had no intention of clearing up anytime soon.
About 10, almost 11 kilometres into this one so far, and it's really just a big wall of trees that shields the view, and on the other side there's a lot of forestry work going on, so yeah, it's very closed in and there hasn't been much to look at. It's been very repetitive, let's say.
After a good few hours of walking, I reached a small hamlet called Shenval, where in amongst a pile of junk I spotted the peculiar remains of a car. At this point, probably the most interesting thing I'd seen. I carried on along the road, past a barking dog, and I asked myself, David, are you enjoying all of this forestry track? No? Well, do you think it's going to get better soon? I have a nice surprise for you, my friend.
This is the stretch of road that it mentions in the route map. It's a lot more of a main road than I was expecting, actually. I've just joined it from the second bridge after Shenval, and I'll follow the road up to Milness, and then I'll rejoin the Affric Kintail Way from there. So I'll not keep you here. I'll power on and I'll get you guys a bit further on.
People coming in here, they go walking the hills, okay, or camping here, fishing down there, okay. It's very picturesque.
What's your name?
And Octavius.
Octavius.
Yeah.
David.
David.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Well, that was unexpected. I hitchhiked for, I think, the first time in my life. I'm pretty sure I've not done it before, but there's so many times where I've been really tired and I wish I could have hitchhiked. This time I didn't really need to, I just wanted to. So he took me to the shop. There was a pub there, you can get food there. They said the shop was just going to be open until people went home. And I got a coffee. I was tempted to get a beer, but I didn't want to spend too much money. So I'm being somewhat sensible, says the guy who just hitchhiked. Yeah. Cheers.
On day one, I covered 18.6 kilometres, which given I hitchhiked is still a fair walk. And though I enjoyed the day, most of it involved forestry track and what I can only describe as tree jail. Once I reached Cannich, I thought I would continue the theme of rewarding myself, and in the spirit of having an experience, I opted to pitch up at the local campsite, which at £15 for the night felt pretty reasonable. I treated myself with a delightful smoked sausage and baby bell wrap that I performatively made for the camera, and then I retired to the tent for a nice early night.
Good day. Did about 18, maybe 19 kilometres today, which was 6 shorter than it should have been if I didn't get a lift from Octavia. Can't remember what his name was. But yeah, I'm going to go to sleep now, and I'll get you guys in the morning. Got a long day ahead, so, or maybe get up early, who knows. We'll see what like. So I'll get you guys in the morning.
I woke up feeling fresh after my hitchhiking escapades yesterday, and I decided I would utilise that, pack up early and head off as quickly as I could. Knowing that I had a big day ahead and wanting to make the most of Cannich and its delightful offerings, I caved at the temptation of a succulent cafe breakfast. It cost £21 for a coffee and a vegetarian breakfast, and honestly, it was one of the best I've had in ages. The hash browns particularly were wonderful and far superior than your average golden arched fast food chain.
Crispy. I've decided I love Cannich. The campsite, which I was just at, was fantastic. It's got a cafe, it's got showers, which I didn't use. You can sleep in a caravan, you can sleep in a pod, you can bring your tent, you can bring your camper van. There's the shop that I was at last night with the cafe bus. It also has a bar. It's such a small place, but it's got bags of character. And it's the gateway to a whole bunch of Monroes in Glen Affric, so you could easily drive down here, stay the night, and then boom, next day go and complete everything.
I set off for Glen Affric at 9:30 a.m, knowing I had 35 kilometres to cover today. As I left the wholesome village of Cannich behind, dreaming of more exciting scenery, the route led me towards a lovely looking pine forest. But the ominous sight of a lorry stacked high with timber made me think I might not be in for a quaint woodland walk after all.
It's all forestry track around here, same as yesterday. What you really want is just to be walking through this, through the woodland. Give me this any day. Take it all day long. I'll walk in the woods for 30 kilometres. It's not to be, this part. It's forest road this whole way. So I'm going to just power on, and when I get to the end of it I'll pick you guys back up. I just met a lovely couple from Czechia, or the Czech Republic, Jacob and Sylvia. So they've flown over for 6 days to do the Affric Kintail Way specifically, and then they're flying back because they've left their kids. But yeah, really lovely couple. Hope they smash it. They're heading in the same direction as me today, so I'll no doubt bump into them later.
After roughly 6 kilometres of no views and yet more damn tree jail, I joined a small path which would lead me out of the woods and down towards the Dog Falls. A nice little nature spot, worth a visit in its own right, where I rested for a bit, enjoyed the sights, and refueled on my favourite snack, jelly. This was me having cramp in my stomach, and I genuinely thought I was having a hernia at this point, but thankfully it quickly passed.
It's 11:15 a.m. I'm about 8 or 9 kilometres into the walk, and I've just passed the dog falls. And there's 2 reasons that's significant. One, it looks like it's the end of that forestry trail, and 2, it marks the end of Strathglass, which means everything ahead is Glen Affric from here on out. And soon, if I follow this river beyond these woods, I should reach the banks of Loch na Vidóin, or something like that. Don't know how accurate that is, but we'll find out soon.
And find out soon we certainly did, with yet another wall of trees ensuring I couldn't see the loch even if I tried.
These are my least favourite paths. The big wide tracks surrounded by trees. There's not much to see, and that's okay for a small period of time. But just beyond that tree line is the most incredible view of the loch, and all the islands just scattered in the middle. And every now and again I can see through the trees, and I'm just like, I want to be there. I want to be right on the bank. And so far this trail has mostly been through the woods. A road, essentially, a glorified road. And I hope it ends soon. Hey guys, let me grab the camera and I'll show you. There's an opening in the tree, so there's about to be the greatest view of the loch you will ever see.
Hey you, stop talking.
Oh,
Turn around slowly, put your hands above your head. You're under arrest. You ain't seeing a single view of the loch. Nuh-uh-uh.
I just want to see the loch.
Shut the hell up, punk. You ain't seen no lochs today.
I'm innocent. I'm innocent, I tell you. I just want to see the view.
After convincing the view police to let me off with a caution, I headed back out onto the trail, and for the first time in the walk, and I didn't want to count my chickens here, but I could see things I liked.
That's the Affric lodges. Looks like a James Bond villain would live on that island. Very cool. Very cool. We're approaching the mountains now, so hopefully it's not too much longer on this here path. The forestry track purgatory that I've been enduring for the entire day.
Eventually, the walking gods came through and answered my prayers, and as the stubborn pine forests wore thin, I could see the Affric giants waking from their slumber.
In the distance there is Sgurna Lapich, which is a Monroe, funnily enough. And behind that you've got Carney, which I think is maybe a series of different Monroes. There's quite a few in this area. So yeah, it's nice to finally have things open up, and it's just so much better to look at than a bunch of trees everywhere.
With a renewed sense of enthusiasm for adventure, I jovially headed in the direction of the Glen Affric Youth Hostel. And as if a switch had been flicked, all of a sudden, everything became so much more interesting.
I've just taken shelter behind a big mound of, I don't know, it's just a big mound. I've just taken shelter behind a big mound of grass or whatever. I've just taken shelter behind a little hill. The rain's come on, but I just had to stop because I just met a guy called Dennis, 77 years old. He's doing some kind of challenge. He had about 18 kilograms of kit, he had food strapped to his belt, he had a proper old-fashioned map in a waterproof bag. Guy was insane. And It's a challenge that happens every May. I can't remember what the name is, but he did tell me. Certainly puts what I'm doing to shame. What an incredible guy. He was super cool. He's camping just a little bit further on. That's just given me such a buzz. If anybody knows what that route thing is called, the T something from Shielbridge to Montrose, let me know more about it. It sounds amazing. It sounds way too hard for me.
I actually ended up seeing a few other people tackling this long distance challenge, most of whom were older than me, and having spoken to a few of those folks, it left me feeling inspired, and it almost felt intentional, as if the timing was mirroring the insane views of the Glen I found myself walking through. And just as I started getting the urge to yell "Freedom!", I reached my destination for the evening.
Feels good to be pitched up by a lovely river as well. 34 kilometres, or just over 34 kilometres. Again, just over 9 hours in total of walking. What a day. I got a real big treat for later on. Tony's chocolonely. Chocolonely. There's been a few intermittent rain showers, which looked a bit ominous, but the wind just blew them by. So I don't know what I was worried about in the first place. Looking at weather apps is important, really is important. And if you're not sure, you're probably within your right to not go. But sometimes you can overthink it. And sometimes you have to just accept we're in Scotland and it probably will rain most of the time. So just bring the right stuff. I'm going to say it one last time. I love this tent. It's one of the best things I think I've ever bought for the outdoors. The Tigris is the business. And it's so roomy. Look how much room I've got. Look at that delicious piece of chocolate goodness. Oh. I said earlier I was over-planning and over-planning and over-planning. I scour OS maps over and over deciding where I'm going to go, and honestly it's not really necessary. But save me the hassle, guys. If there's anywhere that you've been or anywhere that you think is cool, that you think I would enjoy, let me know. Put it down in the comments. Maybe 2 nights, 3 nights at most, sort of trails somewhere in Scotland, I guess, or somewhere else. I'm open to travel. Just let me know.
It's 8:45. I'm fed, I'm watered, or I've had a coffee, but that's the same thing. I've had some chocolate and I'm really tired, so I'm going to fall asleep under the pitter-patter of these raindrops and hope that by the time it gets to the morning, the rain is finished and it is a lovely day once more. But we'll see. I won't get my hopes up, or I won't count my chickens, is the right phrase. So yeah, catch you guys in the morning. Good morning. It is just about to turn 7 a.m. And what a wild day yesterday was. Much like any long distance hike, the pattern is loads of high points, few low points. I woke up and I thought I heard something rustling about outside the tent. I unzipped the tent to look, and at first I thought it was a cow, big black and white beast. Took a proper look outside and there was 2 horses. It looked like they were just doing the Affric Kintail Way. Crazy. I didn't know you got wild horses in this part of Scotland. I wasn't even really sure you got wild horses here. at all, but I guess you do, or who knows? Someone tell me more about this, because yeah, didn't expect that. It rained all night, and I'm going to give this tent one more shout out. There's not a drop of water on the inside. It's so good. So yeah, let's get breakfast on, and we'll wait for the weather to break, and we'll hit the road. Breakfast was a delightful pouch of Nusper muesli. No idea what Nusper is, but it was delicious. And once the rain finally gave way, I packed up the trusty Tigris and set off for my final day on the Affric Kintail Way. I passed by the Glen Youth Hostel, which is powered by a wind turbine and solar panels, and they provide warm water and electricity. It makes for an excellent accommodation option on the route, with beds costing around £28 per night.
That was the Glen Youth Hostel. It makes the second stop of the Affric Kintail Way if you don't want to wild camp. The first one being Cannich, where you can get a campsite or a guest house, and then 30 to 35 kilometres down the road you've got the youth hostel, which is where Sylvia and Jacob stayed. Cool place. Turns out that's where the horses live as well. I don't know the purpose of those. Maybe that's how the person who works there rides in and out to work. And this is where it gets really cool. I think up here is Ansochich and the Affric Monroes. And then I can't remember what this glen is called and what those Monroes are. But on this side you've got the Five Sisters of Kintail. And then if you head down this glen here, it takes you to Loch Duich. It's an epic place. Even just being here gives me goosebumps. And on the other side of the Five Sisters, you've got the Glen Shiel 7. It's just a remarkable part of Scotland and is basically the road out to Skye. Yeah, it's proper Scottish wilderness, and it's fantastic. Just doing a piece to camera now because I don't know if you can see it, but just down there is Camban Bothy, and there was a few people having a stop down there, so I thought I'd record this here and save annoying them all with all this camera crap. Like every bothy, very remote, a great place to stay if you don't want to sort of wild camp, and it's only a wee bit up the road from the youth hostel. I think if you were doing the Affric Kintail Way in 4 days rather than 3, you'd probably stop Cannich, River Affric, Camban, and then finish the job on the final day. The secrets of Camban Bothy will have to wait for another time. Which translates to, I was too scared to go in because there was a bunch of folk in there already. And I'll probably never get used to it, but taking the camera inside and poking it in around where people are sort of just chilling out, it's just not a cool thing to do. The inside, well, if you really want to know what's in there, I suggest you come out and see for yourself. Look how clear that water is. If it was a sunny day, I would dip in it. I wouldn't. I asked if this was one of the most overrated trails in Scotland. And obviously that was just nonsense. As with anything, it is what you make of it. If you're up for a good time, you'll probably have a good time. Although walking through Tree Jail was hell on earth, once you got to the end of that section, you entered this incredible wilderness. Even in cloud and rain, it's just remarkable. It's one of the best trails for sure. It's up, it's down, it's winding, it's narrow, it's everything that you want the trail to be. And you can make as much a plan as you want, but the weather, it doesn't care. It doesn't care that you booked a week off work. And you've got to just accept that things will probably go wrong. Just got to find a way to adapt. And if you want to enjoy yourself, you'll find a way, I promise.
By this point in the walk, I was in my flow state. Every step I took, I felt a sense of awe. My brain was releasing every neurotransmitter it could. Serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins were free-flowing like waterfalls in the Glen. Maybe because I'm easily pleased, or maybe because nature is a beautiful thing. But this route, specifically as I made my way through this part of the Glen, it felt special. A place in nature I'll remember for a long time.
This is one of the most insane, incredible pieces of nature I've seen. Wow, my mind is going crazy. There was just so much going on at one point. You've got the waterfall, you had that bit, you had just, wow. This is just insane. This is peak. This is peak. All those trees, Tree Jail, just forget Tree Jail. Tree Jail is forgiven. That part, it's got character, I guess, blah blah blah. This, wow, this is some of the most incredible scenery you will ever see. I promise. Whew. On a side note, I just saw the horses. They're not too far behind me. They'll catch up on me eventually. I'll show you when they pass me. This is mental. I tell you where you wouldn't see horses. Up there. Monroe's. Who cares? Get in the Glen. The Glen is where it all happens.
In full, undeniable view of the Five Sisters, I waved goodbye to the rugged and flora-rich Glen I had traversed down, and looked ahead towards the final stretches of the trail.
It's about 12:30 in the afternoon. I have about 7 kilometres left till Morvich, so we're nearly done and dusted. Maybe a couple more hours and we'll be there, which feels like good time. Legs are feeling okay. It's just the usual soreness from a long distance walk. I did at one point think of adding an extra day to do a Monroe or two in this area, but to be honest, I'm quite happy with how this has gone. So I'll just have to come back another time. A memorial hut in memory of Fred Haddon and Elliot Woodburn, who died climbing on Ben Nevis in 1955. I wonder what the significance of this place is and why they chose to build the hut here. It's locked, so you can't go in it, but it's cool. Any sort of bothy structure in a landscape like this always just looks kind of cool. I need to also stop bringing pouches for lunch because I just can't be bothered getting the stove out and making a a pouch of food for lunch, so I just starved myself till night time. So I'm having crepes, and I'm having the rest of my chocolate. But maybe I should just go back to bringing nuts or those. I don't know. What should I bring? What's a better lunch thing? I've got no idea. Also, I am so much faster than a horse coming down the hill. Never would have thought that. I saw them in the distance when I was just past that waterfall thing, and I thought they're bound to catch up with me, but they never did. And that's them only just coming into eyesight now. So, horses 0, David 1. And with that wonderful piece of insight handed down to you guys, I headed for the finish line. I made my way through the Glen, alongside the beautiful River Crow, past the remnants of a Hollywood film set, and headed towards the Highland village of Morvich, where the trail ends and you join up with the road out to Skye. And I took the chance to reflect back at the hike I had successfully completed, ticking off another bucket list trail from my list. Well, here I am on the banks of Loch Duich, which is about 25 minutes walk down from Morvich, which I thought was the end of the trail, but hey ho. And as soon as I got here, I just saw a bus pull away. So how's that for bad timing? But that's the walk done. It was incredible. It was really incredible. There was some high moments. There was definitely some low moments as well, as is always the case with a long distance trail. What a beautiful place to finish the walk as well. The next bus isn't till 7:10, which was over 3 hours since I arrived here. But I went across to the shop and had a pizza while I was waiting, and now here I am. It just shows sometimes things don't go to plan, no matter how much you want them to. Whether that's tree jail, whether it's the pouring rain, whether it's missing your train, missing your bus, whether it's losing your stupid tripod thing or forgetting your toothbrush. So many things just don't go the way you want them to go, and that's fine, that's okay. Sometimes no plan is the best plan, and if you're very, very lucky, things will just fall into place and maybe you'll have a great adventure. And if they don't, that's fine. That's living. That's what living is. And living is the greatest thing any of us will ever do. So yeah, I'll leave you with that one. But if you stayed this far, as always, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. I've had a blast. Hope you guys did as well. And look forward to seeing you all in the next one. So, from the Affric Kintail Way, from Loch Duich, cheerio.
Leave no trace, baby. You wouldn't even know I was there.